Patricia Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm once again pleased this year to participate in this, what has become a tradition of debating baby loss. And I want to thank the Honourable Lady for Hartlepool for her opening of this debate. And I participate as someone who has suffered a stillbirth at full term and almost died in the process. But over the last year or so, I think I've gone to more funerals than I have ever done in my previous 54 years in my life so far. And of course, at funerals, when we gather to bury our dead, we talk about the deceased, we talk about what they were like, foibles in their character, amusing anecdotes told with affection and laughter. They are mourned and remembered for the person that they were. But with stillbirth, there are no such stories. Over time, you simply learn to live with a loss that changes you forever. And at the funeral, all there is a life unlived. There are no amusing anecdotes, there are no character foibles to remember. There is no personality yet formed upon which to base memories. There is only the madness of grief for a life whose promise and potential has been unfilled and unrealised, a much longed for and much wanted child born, fully grown, often otherwise perfectly healthy, dead before it can take its first breath. And born sleeping is so apt because such babies look exactly like that. A perfectly, fully grown, normal baby, but one who is just so unnaturally quiet, appearing fast asleep, with a room already at home prepared, waiting for their arrival, and your very stake in your future gone. But I want to talk today about pre-eclampsia, because pre-eclampsia is the cause of so many stillbirths every year. And in order really to make an impact on stillbirth, we really need to learn more and understand more about that particular condition, the most deadliest form of which is HELLP syndrome. And what's interesting is that pre-eclampsia is associated with very, very serious long-term health risks for the woman who develops it during pregnancy. They are at risk, long-term risk of chronic hypertension, ischemic heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, kidney disease, diabetes mellitus, thromboembolism, hypothyroidism, and even impaired memory. Who is monitoring the long-term health of women who have suffered pre-eclampsia? Why are these longer-term risks not specifically monitored? Women in these risk categories are not even told that they face these risks and are simply unaware of the long-term health challenges they may face once they are discharged from hospital. How can this be right? People talk quite rightly of stillbirth being a product of health inequality, but we also know that stillbirths too often happen as a result of systematic errors in care. Sometimes the most basic red flags are simply overlooked or, at worst, ignored. We only have to see the recent and frankly horrific independent reports, the latest only last week regarding maternity care in East Kent, Nottingham, Shrewsbury and Telford, and, to my deep regret, even Greater Glasgow and Clyde Health Board, which in my experience, far from seeking to review procedures and learn lessons, simply lawyered up to seek to intimidate me and who knows how many other such bereaved parents into silence. They failed in trying to silence me, but I have absolutely no reason whatsoever to believe that this particular health board has learned anything from its systematic errors, which led to the death of an otherwise perfectly healthy 8-pound-5-ounce baby. Staffing was not the issue, but systematic failures, negligence and incompetence, which killed my baby and almost killed me. But in all these cases, some publicised recently, bereaved parents all say the same thing: cover-ups, ranks closing and few, if any, answers. Only the isolation and bewilderment of emptiness. I have no confidence that this will change, which is why independent reviews are necessary. It seems that health boards and health trusts are simply unable or unwilling to admit errors without being forced to, and that is unacceptable and inexcusable. And despite warm words, I have no evidence to see that this is going to change. The bereavement care pathway, which many have mentioned today, is a very positive thing. If parents are to be listened to, their questions must be answered without fear of serious mistakes being uncovered. If serious mistakes are to be uncovered, are to be found, they should be. Otherwise, all else is cosmetic and, quite frankly, patronisingly pointless. We've made some progress since my first debate in 2016 about stillbirth, but there is much greater willingness to talk about the life of babies snuffed out before their lives can begin. The more bereaved parents feel able to talk about stillbirth, the less isolated they will feel. But the isolation is real, debilitating, and its impacts long-lasting. This year's Baby Loss Awareness Week theme was Stepping Stones, depicting the path that people must take after losing a baby and the various stages of that journey. The fact is that for those of us who carry out the grotesquely unnatural act of burying a fully grown baby, the path of grief does not end. It stays with you for the rest of your life. You simply somehow find a way to live with it. But it really is time we stopped hearing about serious failings in maternity care that lead to stillbirths. How many times have we had reports? How many times have we had reviews? How many times have we had investigations? What health trust or health board doesn't know in this day and age what is required to deliver babies safely and support mums through their pregnancy? Sadly, we know that the latest failures found in East Kent will not be the last. And I honestly despair, and I know that all those who've been through a stillbirth continue to despair as well, each time we hear of yet more systematic failures. Of course, staffing is an issue, but it is not the whole story. For those babies already gone, it's too late. But governments across the UK must do more to do better. Otherwise, more babies will be born asleep.